My name is Celine Ward. I'm 32, and until 10 a.m. last Monday, I thought my life was a straight road. No potholes, just mileage. I was in a team meeting, phone on silent, when it buzzed on the table like a trapped insect. One glance at the screen, and the air in the room thinned. Aaron, Celine, I need to tell you something. I got someone pregnant. It's Kira from work. I'm so sorry. We need to talk. People say your heart drops. Mine didn't. It folded itself into a smaller shape and slid into my ribs, leaving the rest of me very calm. Strategic calm. The kind that arrives right before the flood, when you can still see the furniture and decide what to save. I waited until the meeting ended. I walked to my desk, opened his contact, and typed with fingers that refused to shake. Me, congratulations to the mother. Then I blocked his number. No argument, no scene, no oxygen for a fire he'd already set. He had delivered his news. My part of the conversation was over. Next move. Kira. I knew her first name, department, the way she laughed at Aaron's jokes a little too long at the company picnic. A quick search on the professional site everyone uses, and there she was, smiling over a caption about strategic partnerships. The office address listed right below. On my lunch break, I walked to a stationery store. I didn't buy a pastel baby card. I bought a condolences card. Thick paper, heavy as a verdict. Inside, I wrote, "Heard about your upcoming responsibility. Condolences." I signed my name and sent it via same-day courier to her office. Marked urgent. Petty? Maybe. Accurate? Absolutely. I left work early. The sky had that hard, bright blue that feels like a dare. At the hardware store, I bought new deadbolts for every exterior door. The clerk said, "Bad breakup?" with a practiced smirk. I said, "New boundaries," and he rang me up in silence. At home, I changed the locks. Front, back, garage. It felt like breathing through a paper bag and then finally finding real air. Then I pulled down the suitcases, opened the hall closet, and started packing his life. Clothes first. Jeans rolled and stacked. Shirts buttoned to keep the collars quiet. The watch he never wore but always displayed. The cologne that smelled like apology. Shoes in pairs. Chargers coiled. Every item folded like a signed receipt. I labeled each box in thick marker. Aaron. I stacked them by the door, not in the living room where they would haunt me, but right at the threshold where they belonged. He lived in my house. Mortgage, bills, deed, my name on every line that mattered. His name wasn't on a single document. He moved in 18 months ago. The furniture was mine. The quiet was mine. I intended to keep both. I made tea and waited. The kettle clicked off like a distant gunshot. I sipped. At 6:15 p.m., the video doorbell chimed. The screen lit with Aaron's face, confused first, then annoyed, jiggling his key like a magician whose trick stopped working. He tried his phone, probably remembering the block. Then the knocking started, sharp, insistent. I let it go 5 full minutes, long enough for the entitlement to dry out a bit. Then I opened the door 1 chain's width. "Celine," he said, relief flooding his tone like we were in the same story. "Thank God. My key's not—" "It's not your key anymore, Aaron," I said, "and it's not your house." His mouth opened in disbelief, then performed a frown he thought I would recognize. "Don't be like this. I said I was sorry. It was a mistake." "A mistake is a wrong turn," I said. "You chose a road." "I panicked," he said, lowering his voice like intimacy could be bribed back. "It doesn't change how I feel about you. Can we just talk, please?" "Your belongings are packed," I said, angling the door so he could see the labeled boxes. "Arrange pickup via email. I'll grant you a 30-minute window. That's the extent of our conversation." Color drained, then returned as anger. "You can't just kick me out. I live here. I have rights." "You were a guest," I said. "Your stay is over." His phone rang in his hand. He glanced down. Panic creased across the bravado. "It's... Kira's freaking out." "What did you do? Her colleagues just got a delivery." "I sent condolences," I said. Seemed appropriate. "You're being cruel," he said. "She's terrified. I'm terrified. I made a mistake." "You made a child," I said softly. "Call the mother." "She's not. Celine, I love you." "Love doesn't hide behind silence and timelines," I said. "It doesn't send me a confession in a text between meetings. It takes the hit face to face." He stared through this gap like he could will it wider. "Where am I supposed to go?" "Maybe start with the woman you made promises to without telling me," I said. "Or the husband she may have forgotten to mention." His eyes flickered, all the confirmation I needed. I slid the door closed to the chain. Email me a pickup time. He put his palm flat on the wood. If you close this door. I'm not closing it, I said. I'm locking it. I shut the door, slid the chain free, and turned the new deadbolt. The sound echoed clean and final down the hallway. The banging resumed, then faded. A car door slammed. Silence. Thick, relieved, took the room by the hand. An hour later, the emails began, from a new address. I messed up. I know. I'm so sorry. Please, can we talk? Then another. You owe me time. I built a home with you. He once picked a shower curtain and a toothbrush holder. The cord of receipts was not on his side. I opened a fresh notes file and typed a timeline. 10:03. Text received. 10:22. Reply sent. Block. 12:40. Condolences card sent. 3:10. Locks changed. 3:45. 5:20. Packing completed. 6:15. Confrontation at door, recorded on video. 7:32. First email via new address. I attached screenshots, courier confirmation, the doorbell clip. Facts don't need emotions to stand up straight. At 8:09 p.m., a message pinged from Maddie, his best friend, mine only by proximity. Maddie. Celine, you can't just throw him out. He's overwhelmed. Kira is pregnant. This is bigger than you two. Me. Then he should act like it's bigger. He should go be a father to his child. Maddie. He made a stupid mistake. Don't ruin his life. Me. He detonated ours. I'm not catching the shrapnel. I blocked Maddie. The quiet returned and sat beside me like an old friend I hadn't visited in years. I walked to the door and looked at the boxes. Labels facing out, seams taped clean. They looked like a verdict ready to be picked up by whoever wanted to argue with it. I set a small stack of printed instructions on top. Pick up by appointment only. Email required. 30-minute window. Door will not be opened without confirmation. Beneath that, a list of what was and wasn't included, each item checked off in neat pen. Control is not revenge, it's oxygen. Before bed, I checked the video doorbell feed one more time. There I was behind the chain. Steady voice, steady hand. There he was, shocked that a door could be more loyal than a man. I saved the clip and backed it up twice. Then I opened my window. Night air washed the room. Cool, ordinary, forgiving. I thought about the tea I hadn't finished. The life I had. The life I wouldn't have to carry for someone else. Grief didn't arrive like thunder. It arrived like a soft weight and lay at my feet, waiting to see if I'd step over it or pick it up. I turned off the light. Somewhere across town, a courier was placing a heavy envelope on a desk with Kira's name. Tomorrow, office whispers would braid themselves into a rope. It wasn't my problem to hold. I had my own house to keep. Locks changed, boxes packed, timeline clean. Strategic mode would let me fall apart later. For now, it was enough to know the hinges worked, the deadbolt slid, and the door could tell the difference between out and in. By Tuesday morning, the silence had shape. It hummed around the edges of my day like static, as if the universe itself was waiting to see if I'd flinch. I didn't. I brewed coffee, answered emails, went to work, came home. Each task deliberate. Each moment accounted for. Then the flood started. At first, one new email from an unfamiliar address. Celine, please, I'm begging you. I messed up. You know me. You know I wouldn't have done this if I wasn't confused. Kira means nothing. I love you. I want to fix this. Please answer. 10 minutes later, another one. Same plea, different tone. You can't just erase me like this. I have rights. I live there. Half that house is mine. Half. He'd never paid a cent of mortgage, but entitlement has its own math. I didn't reply. I added both addresses to my spam filter, then dragged the messages into a folder labeled Evidence. That evening, my phone buzzed. Not Aaron this time. Maddie. Celine, please pick up. Aaron's a mess. He's scared out of his mind. You're really going to throw him out when she's pregnant? I typed slowly, each word measured. Kira is pregnant, not me. He belongs where the baby is. He made a mistake, she shot back. One stupid mistake after 3 years of love. You can't be this cold. A mistake is missing a turn. He built a whole new road. I hit send, blocked her number. By Wednesday, the emails evolved. Apologies melted into demands. You owe me compensation for emotional distress. You can't just change the locks like that. It's illegal. If you don't talk to me, I'll go to the police. I logged each one, screenshot after screenshot, the digital version of fingerprints. Emotions fade, evidence doesn't. At 2:15 p.m., a new knock on the door. This time, Maddie, face pinched, arms crossed, a frown rehearsed for maximum sympathy. "Celine," she said, the name sharp on her tongue. "I'm here to pick up Aaron's things." "They're right there," I said, nodding to the stacked boxes by the door. The arrangement was for pickup. That's where my involvement ends. "You're really going to make his friend do this?" she said, gesturing dramatically at the boxes. "He's heartbroken. He's not thinking clearly." "I'm sure he'll have time to think now," I said. She bent to lift one, then paused mid-grip. "You know," she said, straightening up, "he really thought you two were forever. Kira was a stupid mistake. He was going to tell you about the pregnancy," she hesitated, "and try to, I don't know, make it work." "Make it work?" I repeated, "by passing it off as mine?" She didn't answer. That silence said enough. Whatever doubt had survived the first 48 hours evaporated on the spot. When she finally left, the boxes gone, the hallway felt different, wider somehow. Freedom has square footage, and I'd just reclaimed mine. By the end of the day, I got another ping, this one from my bank. "Unusual activity," the alert said. I called immediately. A hotel booking, a designer handbag, both charged to a credit card I'd forgotten existed, an emergency card where Aaron was still listed as an authorized user. The bank declined the charges, locked the account, and assured me the matter would be flagged for fraud. Petty theft wrapped in luxury. That was Aaron in one sentence. I closed my laptop, stared out the window, and laughed once. Short, quiet, disbelieving. He had detonated our life, and yet somehow still thought he could shop his way out of the rubble. That night, the condolences card finally landed. A mutual acquaintance, someone still working in their office, texted me the fallout. Kira's husband had found out. Apparently, Aaron wasn't just cheating on me. He was the other man. Kira had neglected to mention that tiny, devastating detail. When the courier dropped the card at her desk, the whole office froze. The envelope had been hand-addressed in clean cursive, the message short, sharp, irrefutable. "Heard about your upcoming responsibility. Condolences. Celine Ward." The gossip spread before lunch. By 3 p.m., her husband had shown up in the lobby. By 4 p.m., HR had escorted both of them out separate doors. By 5 p.m., my phone buzzed again. One more email from Aaron. "You humiliated me. You didn't have to drag my name through mud. I lost everything because of you." I typed back one line. "You lost what you built. I just stopped sweeping it under the rug." I didn't send it. I deleted the draft. Some words are better left as therapy than ammunition. That night, I wrote in my journal, "Entitlement doesn't die. It just changes tactics." Then I added a note for tomorrow. Call lawyer. Save every message. The week wasn't even over, and already the storm had started to look familiar. Begging, bargaining, blame. The 3 stages of someone realizing their control no longer works. By Friday, I stopped flinching at every notification. The silence wasn't waiting for me to break anymore. It was standing guard. I'd spent years nurturing someone else's comfort. Now, for the first time, I was protecting my own. The echo of his voice at the door still lingered in my mind, the tremor in it when he said, "Where am I supposed to go?" I whispered my answer to the quiet room, "Anywhere that's not here." The house didn't argue. By the following Monday, the silence cracked open again, not with apologies this time, but strategy. Manipulation wears many faces, and Aaron had decided to try them all. The first voicemail arrived before sunrise, a woman's voice, soft, pleading, older. "Celine, this is Caroline, Aaron's mother. I know you're hurt, sweetheart, but please, he's lost. He's ashamed. He's telling me you locked him out, that he's sleeping in his car. You've always been such a kind girl. Please find it in your heart to talk to him. He needs you right now." Kind girl. The phrase hit like a rusty nail. The kind girl cleans up messes she didn't make. The kind girl sacrifices peace for politeness. I wasn't her anymore. By noon, a second voicemail, then a third. Each one longer, more desperate, layering guilt like wallpaper. "Celine, he made one mistake. He's still the man you love." "Celine, he's saying you ruined his reputation." "Celine, she's pregnant. Have some compassion." By Tuesday, compassion had a return address. A registered letter landed in my mailbox from Caroline herself, demanding I provide temporary financial support for Aaron and the baby during this difficult time. The entitlement was immaculate. They truly believed that I was the solution to their chaos. I stacked the envelope on my counter, unopened, and scribbled across it in red marker. Evidence. Next to it, a growing pile. Emails, voicemails, bank statements, screenshots. The bones of a story that would one day defend itself without my voice. That evening, a sharp knock rattled the door. 2 police officers stood on the porch, polite but firm. "Ms. Ward, we received a report of possible theft." I raised an eyebrow. "From Aaron?" One officer cleared his throat. "He claims you're withholding personal property, a laptop, some jewelry, possibly family heirlooms." I smiled, not bitterly but knowingly. "Of course he does. Come in." They followed me to the hallway, where the empty square of clean floor still marked where his boxes had stood. I showed them the video clip of Maddie's pickup on my doorbell cam. Time-stamped, complete. Then, the laptop receipt. Purchased 2 years before I even met Aaron. My credit card. My name. "Everything he owned left my property under witness and camera," I said. "If there are heirlooms, he must have left them somewhere between betrayal and eviction." The officers exchanged a look, the kind that says, "We've seen this play before." One of them nodded. "Understood, ma'am. We'll close this report. Sorry for the disturbance." When they left, I watched their cruiser pull away, headlights carving pale lines into the dusk. Somewhere behind those lights was a man still convinced that guilt was a weapon. I sat down at the dining table, the same one where he'd once talked about rings, travel plans, and shared futures, and opened my laptop. Subject line, cease and desist. Recipient, Aaron Cole, CC, Caroline Cole, Maddie Lewis. All future contact, direct or indirect, must cease immediately. Any further harassment, false accusations, or attempts to defame my character will be considered actionable. Attempts at financial fraud, see bank case numbered 47 to 382, and false police reports have been documented. Continued contact will result in formal legal proceedings. My lawyer, Harper Dwyer, reviewed and signed it within the hour. She added a final note at the bottom. "This letter constitutes your final warning." We sent it certified mail. 3 copies. 3 signatures required. By Thursday, the storm stopped. The voicemails ended. The inbox went quiet. No knocks. No letters. For the first time in weeks, my house sounded like a home again. Just walls, air, and my own breathing. But peace after chaos doesn't arrive as music. It arrives as emptiness. I walked through each room like a curator in a museum of the recently survived. His jacket no longer hung by the door. His toothbrush was gone. His echo was gone. I made dinner for one, set the plate down, and realized it wasn't loneliness I felt. It was space. That night, I lit a candle and wrote in my journal. Compassion without boundaries becomes self-destruction. Love without accountability becomes chaos. And under it, one line in bold ink. I am not the kind girl anymore. Friday morning brought an email from Harper. Short, clinical, satisfying. All 3 parties received and signed for the cease and desist. No responses. Proceeding to document closure unless further contact occurs. I stared at that line. No responses. It was the quietest victory I'd ever had. Outside, the city buzzed with the usual indifference. Inside, I exhaled the last trace of his control. Aaron had spent weeks trying to weaponize guilt, law, and love. Each had backfired. And now, for the first time since that text, I didn't feel like I was defending myself. I felt like I was rebuilding. It's been a little over 2 months since what I now call D-Day, Detonation Day. The explosion was loud, public, and messy. But the aftermath? It's been quiet. The kind of quiet that doesn't scare me anymore. The police never came back. The harassment stopped the moment the cease and desist letters landed, and for the first time in years, my house feels like it belongs entirely to me, not because it's mine on paper, but because it finally breathes in peace. I've repainted the guest room, replaced the curtains he always said were too dark, and rearranged the living room, so the couch faces the window instead of the TV. Now, in the evenings, the sunlight pours in through the glass like forgiveness. Slow, warm, undeserved, but welcome anyway. Through a few whispers from mutual acquaintances, I learned the rest of Aaron's story. Turns out that condolences card I sent to Kira didn't just land on her desk, it landed like a grenade. She was married. Her husband found the card before she did. What followed, I heard, was a spectacular implosion. Her husband confronted her at work. HR got involved. The gossip spread faster than truth could catch it. By the end of the week, Kira was on unpaid leave, Aaron was reassigned, and their little secret wasn't so secret anymore. Apparently, Aaron is blaming me. He told people I ruined his life, that I overreacted. But even those who once believed him have started to see the pattern, how chaos follows him like a shadow he refuses to notice. Meanwhile, Kira's pregnancy became public knowledge. Aaron demanded a paternity test. He told his coworkers she trapped him, that she lied. The test came back positive. He's now fighting child support, claiming emotional manipulation and financial hardship. The irony could write itself. I didn't need revenge. The universe was handling it with surgical precision. Still, not everyone accepted silence gracefully. 3 weeks ago, I got one last call from Caroline, Aaron's mother. Despite being copied on the cease and desist, she bypassed my receptionist at work by pretending to be my bank. When I picked up, her voice trembled with tears. Celine, he's not doing well. Kira's gone. He's depressed. The baby's coming. And he has no one. Don't you have any heart left? Just a little something to help him get back on his feet? I took a slow breath. My voice didn't shake. Caroline, I said, your son's situation is not my responsibility. You received a legal warning. This is your final one. She sniffled. You used to love him. I did, I said. And that love cost enough already. Then I hung up. That was the last time I ever heard her voice. After that, silence. Real, unbroken, golden silence. People ask if I feel lonely. But loneliness and peace are distant cousins. They may look alike, but one steals from you while the other lets you rest. I wake before dawn now. I make coffee the way I like it. Too strong, no sugar. The morning light paints my kitchen in soft amber. There are no shoes by the door that don't belong to me. No messages waiting for explanations I don't owe. Sometimes I catch myself thinking about that condolences card, the way it made its quiet, devastating journey. It wasn't just petty. It was poetic justice written in cursive. It forced the truth into daylight. It made accountability unavoidable. A friend told me recently, you didn't just get closure, Celine. You built it. Maybe she's right. Aaron once said I was too calculating. Maybe he mistook clarity for cruelty. Maybe he never learned that self-respect sounds cold only to those who've never heard it before. Now, the nights are softer. Sometimes I light a candle and let it burn down to nothing while I sit in silence, not mourning what I lost, but celebrating what I reclaimed. Here's what I've learned. When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. When your gut whispers that something's off, don't argue, investigate. When betrayal knocks on your door, don't open it just to hear the excuses. And when peace finally arrives, don't mistake it for emptiness. It's not the absence of noise, it's the presence of clarity. As for me, I'm not looking for another love story. I'm writing my own peace treaty, one signed in quiet ink, under the golden light of a house that finally belongs to me.